Hey, this is Av D'Amatos with Ludwig Kitzman, and we're here to talk about Evolve from Turtle Rock Studios, which you got to play, Letty.
That's right. Evolve is a competitive and cooperative multiplayer shooter. It's from Turtle Rock Studios. Now, you remember them as the developer of the original Left 4 Dead. They eventually split off from Valve. Right now, it's slated for the end of the year. You'll be able to play it on Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
So what's the basis of the game? What is the gameplay, and how does it differ from some of their old stuff?
So, do you remember that scene in Jurassic Park where Robert Muldoon is alone in the jungle hunting the Velociraptor? So imagine 4 of him in an even darker jungle, and the Velociraptor is replaced by Godzilla. Now you're getting close to what Evolve is like. It's essentially a 5-player game. 1 player is the monster, and we'll come back to that and what that player is doing, while 4 players are the hunters. Each hunter is a different class with different weapons and a different special ability.
So other than your regular standard soldier type with a machine gun, what are the other classes? What are those characters doing?
The assault dude is, as you can imagine, equipped with an assault rifle. He has a lightning gun, but he can also project a shield in front of himself because he'll often be the focus of the monster's attack. There's also the medic, which is really interesting because the medic can heal teammates with a gun, tranquilize the monster to slow its movements, and use a sniper rifle to actually create weak points on the monster. She can also unleash a burst of healing, so everyone in the immediate radius will be healed, and that's something that you would use in an emergency if the team is about to be wiped out. Then you also have the Trapper, who can plant sound spikes into the ground, so whenever the monster walks by, because the arenas are very large, you can easily lose track of the monster. These beacons will emit a sound to let you know where the monster is at that moment. He can also deploy a mobile arena, which traps the monster temporarily under this energy dome. Finally, there's the support class, who can cloak himself like the Predator. He can summon an orbital barrage from the sky, drop bombs on the monster, or he can use a shield projector to protect other teammates.
So the player that is the monster, what is their purpose? What are they doing?
Well, the monster, he has a lot of different abilities. He can lunge, breathe fire, throw boulders. He's far more agile. He can climb cliff sides. He can escape very quickly into the jungle. The monster is racing to evolve himself and unlock more of his abilities so that it's easier for him to either wipe out your team or destroy a generator in the level. And he's always doing this while being tracked by the hunters. It's easy to pick them off individually, but things will go south if you, as the monster, get trapped while you're weak. You also need a few seconds of alone time to evolve, and during that time you're especially vulnerable. In order to evolve, the monster has to kill and eat other creatures in the jungle, and he can even eat some of your teammates. As the monster, you're trying to reach level 3, which is the highest form of evolution. At that point, you become a real threat because you can just easily wipe out the team, and that's when they will have their toughest fight. So it's really a race against time for you as the monster to evolve as quickly as possible, and for the trackers to trap you and destroy you as quickly as possible.
Now, is this a ticket system, or when another player character is dead, are they dead for good? How does that system work?
You can wipe out an entire team if they're all down and waiting to be revived, but if their bodies are destroyed, they also have to wait for a respawn timer to come back. So you will win if they're all wiped out and there's no respawn since then.
Is there any sort of progression to the game, or is it completely these isolated stories of each separate match?
As you use different abilities and weapons, you gain experience points for those, and they become more powerful. So it's very much an experience-driven system that hinges on what you do
in each specific multiplayer match.
Yes.
Is there a comparison to the situation in Left 4 Dead where you're just fighting the tank?
That's actually very apt because the monster can be like a tank. He can knock you back, and he can be a very upsetting element in your strategy.
So this is Turtle Rock Studios, and they did make Left 4 Dead, like you mentioned. It's starting to sound a lot like Left 4 Dead. What makes this different?
Well, I think all of these parts make for a very non-repetitive, tense 4v1 match. The monster can snatch victory from the jaws of defeat really quickly, or the team can get a victory at the last second. There's a lot of moving parts that makes it interesting. Also, I think it's just a fun shooter in general. It has lots of mobility. There's a lot of cool contextual dialogue that happens. You have jetpacks. Did I mention that there are jetpacks? And there are more kinds of monsters in the game that they've yet to unveil. So presumably some of those monsters will move differently and have different abilities and will require you to adapt and adjust. The other thing that I like is it keeps Left 4 Dead's simplicity. So when you select a class, there's no sort of going through inventory of different guns or abilities, and there's no real major customization. You know your role and you're drawn to do it as well as possible. And I think that makes it very easy to jump in without feeling intimidated by all of these moving parts that I mentioned.